I'm Kayla.
And I'm Haley.
And we majored in English for this.
For this?
All right, it's the hype train this week, guys. New favorite book series?
Question mark? Exclamation?
Me just finding a book series on a Goodreads list and saying, I'm going to put that on our to-read list. What?
I know, dude. So you put it on the schedule, and then I looked them up, and I was like, okay, these covers are gorgeous. The synopsis sounds amazing. Just the name of the series just sounds like that's something I'm gonna fucking like. So here we are.
What? Haley, you listened to the whole audiobook, which we'll get into this in just a second. And you texted me, like, this book is amazing. I'm buying all these books. And I was like, okay, if Haley is this down to clown, I know I'm going to be down to clown. And then while reading this book, there were moments where payoffs happened, and I was at work. If I was at home, I would have been screaming.
I know, dude.
Like, the adrenaline of, like, I need to run, like, a lap after what just happened.
I would feel the same, but I have a little bit of a cold right now. This is the only thing pulling me through.
Yeah. Okay, so so this week we read Song of Blood and Stone by Penelope. It's the first book in the Earthsinger Chronicles. Okay, so it was originally indie published on January 13th, 2015. That's the hardcover book with the purple cover. And Haley listened to the audiobook for that.
Yeah.
And then it was picked up by a larger publishing house. Like, it's not one of, like, the big five, but it's a larger I think it's, like, an imprint. It has to be, like, an imprint.
It's an imprint of one of the big five, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I tried to look it up because, side note, I was trying to find the artist for the cover art for so long. It's so good. If anyone knows who it is, please let us know, because I'm obsessed with it. Oh my gosh, that's why I was excited to get the book, because I was going to look, and then I completely forgot. It's probably on there.
Yeah. Okay, so it was picked up and published by, like, in mainstream publishing on July 16th, 2019. The 2019 edition is 44,000 words longer than the 2015 edition. That's like 125 pages. It introduced an entire new storyline that Haley knows absolutely nothing about, because the 2015 didn't have it. And so that's what the audiobook is for. Very exciting.
Yeah, so I listened to the audiobook, which is so good, by the way. The narrator does an incredible job.
Do you know who the narrator is?
Yeah, Allison Johnson. Okay. I know it because I looked her up. Yeah. I didn't see anything else she did. I was just curious, but yeah, it's so good.
So good. Okay. So I'm actually really happy this happened, that we consumed the two different versions. So I just wanted to know how different they were.
Yeah, so I think we can talk about it more in depth at the end. Yeah, and as it goes. But I think the storyline that you're talking about that was added, I know those characters, but it was just Jasminda was just going to go stay with them. Okay. And that's all I know of them. So I know that, and I obviously met Ben a little bit, but that's all I know.
Ella is fully fleshed out, baby. She's a force. Okay, so.
Dude, I'm going to have to reread the whole book, or like skim the parts I've read and then read the parts I haven't before even starting the next one, I think.
I know. Okay, so we get, I didn't even look at these diagrams and maps. So there's a diagram and map at the start of the books.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go look at them right now to tell you what they are. So this diagram is, okay, basically it's just explaining, like, the Lord and Lady and, like, who, like, their first round of kids are, and then, like, their round of kids are. Right. And then, like, who comes down that line. So
And then yours is only like partially filled out, right? Like it isn't like all names.
no, it's only partially filled out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This makes some sense to me. Okay.
I was just looking at it and I was struggling to make it make sense, but
no. Okay, so
it makes sense now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, did the start of your chapters have epigraphs at them?
Yes, and the narrator read them, and they
Okay.
were so good.
All right. So what this like Lord and Lady? So Lord and Lady, they're like the originators of like the entire world, and then they had 9 kids to start off of, and I'm guessing these are like the original names for like the regions, because I see Lagrimar on here, and then so that's the first descendants, and then this on the second descendants. We see like frog, spider, jackal, serpent, monkey, bobcat, eagle, shark, and horse, which show up in the folk tales that we read throughout the book. And then, so I'm guessing those are the second descendants. And then we see these third descendants. Or am I wrong? I might be wrong. Because I
think it's something like that. I feel like as we go on, we'll understand more, and like more names will get filled in, and then we can like make those kind of connections.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, and then the map. Okay, I actually, for some reason, when I was imagining this, I did not ever reference that. I imagined it actually flipped. Are you?
I kind of imagined it like in my spatial brain, like I am. Like, how I mainly pictured it is I'm facing south, and Lagrimar is on my left, so it's to the east, and then Elsira is on my right, so it's to the west, right?
Oh, so you did
Yeah, because then I imagined it correct, but I imagined it me facing south instead of, like, facing north. I know that doesn't make any sense, and that's just how I pictured it.
No,
so
but
I was correct.
I had it mentally flipped. This is fun. I didn't imagine it like this at all. I just didn't look at it. I'm stupid.
I didn't have it, so.
All right. We got to get into this book. Okay.
Okay, yes, I'm so excited.
Even though this was our first read, I did, like, feel nostalgic. It's been a hot minute since we read, like, an epic romance. Like, not an epic romance. An epic, like, adventure fantasy romance. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I know exactly what you mean. And it did make me, I don't know if it necessarily made me nostalgic, but it just made me, like, very excited to be back in, like, a fully fantasy world.
Yeah, I felt very, like, Tamara Pierce vibes from what was happening. And then, like, there was, I'm not saying Sarah J. Maas vibes, but I am saying, like, that kind of, like, idea. But then the aesthetics for this is all supposed to be 1920s. Did you know that? I knew that because I watched an interview.
Oh, I didn't get that for sure. I just kind of felt like it was like a mixture of a lot of different kind of eras.
Yeah, the aesthetics are supposed to be like 1920s Europe. Like, that's the aesthetics that we're going for.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so you definitely like have the clashing of like generations and stuff.
Right. I got a lot of, and I've only read very little of, like, literal only portions of one of these 2 books, or both of these books, but N.K. Jemisin wrote the, never mind. But that, her writing, mixed with Octavia Butler, because after you said we weren't going to read him for the podcast, I was like, I need something to listen to, so I just started listening to Parable of the Sower. Mm-hmm. So good, and gave me these kind of vibes. Kind of just like, not post-apocalyptic, but just like, there are some characters that are struggling to survive. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's get into this. So we get the prologue, which gives us some mythos of the lands. Key takeaways here. Okay, in the beginning there was silence. The melody of life and breath and heartbeats and change lay locked in a noiseless hush. No green shoots worked their way out of rocky soil. The parched earth was sterile, yearning for change. The folk had long since shunned the scalding rays of the sun, instead choosing to burrow inside the mountain they called Mother. Okay.
So there were people there, but they, like...
were in the caves, the cave folk.
Right. The cave folk.
The arrival of the Lord and Lady pierced the quiet. The resonant songs brought to life the hidden power of the Earthsong. They were the first. They sang the grass and the seeds and trees into being. They swelled shriveled streams into rivers and stymied the will of the desert. And it came to pass that the lady bore the Lord 9 children, each as different from one to another as seed to soil, each with a song rivaling the beauty and power of their parents. And they were the seconds. These children took wives and husbands, and from among the folk of the caves, now brought into the light. The fruit of these unions were plentiful, some bearing rich and varied songs, and some harmonizing the echoes of the caves. And they were the thirds. And all was well for a time. So.
Okay, so that's kind of the diagram, I guess?
Yeah.
The seconds and then the thirds. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, my Kindle had some wicked art on each chapter. I'm very excited for you to peruse that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it seems each chapter has like an epigraph of like in-universe stuff. Am I gonna recap it? No. Enjoy it, babes. It's all like parables and like fables and morals. Like there was one.
Sorry, go ahead.
That was like a bobcat and a horse are racing, and the horse starts to win, but then the bobcat beats him, and he says, "The road may have curved, but that won't stop my straight path." Something like that.
Yeah, they were all very good, and I didn't know if they were like. I didn't realize at first that they were like in universe, like they were folktales from the, which is just so incredible. The world building, it's so good.
Yeah. Okay. So. We meet our main character, Jasminda. How did you say it? Jasminda?
Jasminda, no, that's how I said it.
Jasminda. She's an Earthsinger. She's at the post office. We get the vibe, no one really likes Jasminda. I got a quote. She extended her arms and scrutinized the deep, rich tone of her skin, so different than everyone else's in the town, than just about everyone else's in the country of Alcira. The energy ripping through her gave her a deeper connection to her body. She became even more aware of her skin, how it knit together over muscles and bones. Silently, she sang a spell to shift its color to match the muted, less vibrant shade of the astonished woman before her. Better? She looked up, wearing a sweet smile as a mask. The older woman made a sound like a cat struggling with a hairball and stumbled back, grabbing at the doorknob several times before catching a hold. "Growl, witch," she muttered, then wrenched the door open and fled. The little bell jingled mercilessly.
So that's Jasminda.
So the mail
I love her.
The mail Jasminda got is from a solicitor's office. A solicitor is basically a lawyer.
Yeah.
So basically, Jasminda's maternal grandfather doesn't want anyone to know that his daughter married someone who is Lagramari, and has a biracial granddaughter. And if she signs this paperwork, she'll get $40,000. And she can never say who she really is. And Jasminda really needs that money, but she really loved her mom. So she's just like weighing her decisions.
Yeah, she's like, do I want to lose everything, or do I want this money? Or, yeah.
Her other package is just books. Jasminda leaves to think. She stops by the blacksmith. We learn some more about her family. Her mother had died 7 years prior from an illness, and her fathers and brothers died in a storm 2 years prior. She's all that's left of her little family, and the rest of her family wishes to disown her.
Yeah.
On the way back from the blacksmith, she runs into the constable, who makes her basically hand over her birth certificate and Alcira passport, despite knowing Jasminda since she was born. And she has 1 week to cough up $20,000 or she'll be kicked out of her home and town. And then when she starts going home, there's a man lying on the ground.
So it's just one thing after another right here at the beginning.
Yeah, so we get his POV. His name is Jack. He's been shot. Jack thinks he's still in... You literally just...
Lagrimar, and not in Alcira. And when he sees Jasminda, she starts patching him up, and Jasminda thinks he's delirious because back through the mantle, her tone vibrated through the skepticism, and away from the Lagrimar soldiers chasing you. Yes, her palm met his forehead again. She thought he was delusional. He wished he was. Wished the last few weeks had been nothing but the imaginings of an impaired mind. The seventh breach ended 5 years ago. Her voice flowed over him, along with another tingle of Earthsong, cool and company. We've had peace since then. No way to cross the mantle from either side. He shook his head, aggravating the hole in his upper chest, inches from his heart, where the inconvenient bit of metal was still lodged. There are ways. 1. Penelope just DM'd us on Instagram. What? Hey!
That's why you heard me fumble during that reading. You love to
Well, that's very exciting.
If you're listening to this, thank you. We love you.
Hi, thank you for writing this book.
Spoiler alert, this book is a 10 out of 10 for us. Okay.
You don't have to wait till the end to get that rating.
Yeah. Okay, but then the Lagrimar soldiers do show up, and you're just like, how'd they get here? What's going on? So
I was very confused.
Very confused.
At this point.
So, Jack makes her, like, hide, and he gets, like, taken away.
And, yeah.
Storyline, Haley doesn't know time. We meet
Diverged.
Ella is a hairdresser and an immigrant. Crazy little old lady named Manali, she's important, comes to get her haircut. Ella cuts her hair. It's very nice. Afterwards, a boy comes by with a telegram for Ella. It says, apologies for lack of contact, but I need you. Desperate. At Temple. Oh, gosh. At Temple and Sora, Borderlands. Come now. The yoke of man is the yoke of man. Yours, Cass. That, oh God, was just...
What does that mean?
Okay, the yoke of man is the yoke of man. So that means, like, the yoke, the burden of the man is, like, the yolk, like, the egg yolk of the man.
Oh, so, like, what is hard for him is what makes him who he is?
Yeah. And, like,
nice.
It's, like, a partial saying from, like, the country they're from, because, like, the patron saint of their country, like, their, like, symbol is, like, if you see a whole egg and a broken egg together, like, 2 eggs, one's empty, one's full, that's the yoke of man. That's a symbolism we see a lot. Okay, so this telegram is from Ella's sister, and Ella just makes a snap decision to go. She calls her husband Ben. Oh, Ben.
What's up, Ben?
Ben with 2 N's.
I did not know that.
He's deployed. He's against Ella going because Alcira basically has apartheid laws, which we will discuss later. That is a minor story in Jasminda's stuff because she's a citizen. Ella's not a citizen, so she literally has to have special papers to travel. There's apartheid.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah. Yikes. And Ella, she doesn't have the travel papers to go see Cass. And then, like, this is something I want to talk about, is that Ella is white, though, like, this is another layer we can contest how Elisir isn't just racist, but also xenophobic.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna get into the race stuff later, yeah.
But I think it's also, like, xenophobia, because Ella's white, she has brown eyes and blonde hair, and that combo makes her an outsider, because everyone who's Elisirian has red hair and blue eyes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, but Ella, she's gonna go. And one of Ben's friends on the bus route owes him a favor, so no one will check her papers. So, back to Jasminda. She's following the soldiers who took Jack. Why?
Well, she knows they're gonna end up at her cabin at some point, so she might as well meet them there.
Yeah, so we find out about the mantle. It's the magical border between Lagrimar and Elsira, and it's only been breached 7 times in 500 years. Jasminda's father came over during the 6th breach, and as Jasminda follows the soldiers, she realizes they are going to her home. She slips off the path, takes a shortcut home to circumvent the soldiers, and gets her gun ready and waits for them. The Lagrimari...
I love... She just always has a gun or a knife. You love to see it.
Love to see it. The Lagrimari... They also still think they're in Lagrimar, and Jasminda realizes she's in deep shit if they find out they're actually in Elsira, because they'll just kill her. So she lets them stay at the cabin, and she's like, I'm gonna get sexually assaulted if I don't get my wits about me. And then it's just...
Yeah.
That's a foreshadow.
Ooh.
Jack also still thinks in Lagrimar, even though she's like, we're not. So she convinces the soldiers to let her heal Jack, and she tries to tell them they are in Elsira, because she like speaks him in Elsira, and he's like, wait, how the fuck do you know that? And then he's like shocked to realize that he did in fact cross the mantle without even knowing.
Right. I feel like this is when I was like, okay, so they are trekking all around this area in the mountains, and this part in the mantle where Jack knew he was supposed to go, he didn't realize exactly when he crossed it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, something like that.
Like this break in the mantle, he didn't realize that he actually did cross through it.
Yeah.
And then he's shot, and then the first person they see is of Lagrimari descent, and so they think that they're still in Lagrimar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically. So, Ella gets to see her sister. She is a member of the Sisterhood.
Hell yeah.
For the Queen Who Sleeps. What is it? The Queen Who Sleeps? The Queen Who Slept? I don't know what.
I think it's the Queen Who Sleeps, because she do still be slumbering.
Yeah, so Ella gets to her sister, who's in labor. It's a rough birth. Kes is probably gonna die. She does blood magic on the baby.
What? Ella does or Kes does?
Kes does blood magic on the baby. And then makes Ella vow to not let the Celine Nidos have him. And then Kes just dies.
Oh. So do they have Earthsong?
No, blood magic.
No. It's just blood magic. It's just regular blood magic. Okay.
Because, they are not from Yali. They're from, let me look at the map again. Because they're not...
The one that starts with an F?
No, they're from, Sarunan, which is south of Framia and south of Yali.
Okay. So who is this baby? Who's this baby's father?
We don't
Clearly
know.
someone important.
We don't know. So Jasminda, she gets up in the middle of the night to get Jack food. Then 2 of the soldiers come in, and she hides in the yard. And they're gonna rape Jack?
Yep.
What? And so she's like, oh, I gotta do something about this. She gets like all of her goats out and wakes up all the soldiers and makes them scramble to deal with the goats. And then she gives Jack a knife and she asks him, is this a new breach? She asked. He's sober. Not yet, but soon. There are cracks in the mantle, places where people can slip through, either knowingly or accidentally, but a breach is coming. The Lagrimari think they found a way to tear it down permanently. Permanently? He nodded. The true father has never been able to cross during a breach, not while any part of the mantle is intact, but without it he could cross. What would that mean? His grip on her hand tightened. The end of Elsira, the true father, was the most powerful Earthsinger alive. He had ruled Lagrimar for 500 years, stealing more and more of his people's magic through the tributes to keep him alive and in power. But the magic had never been enough. Each breach had been an attempt for him to expand his influence.
Oh yeah, we forgot. So the the Lagrimari soldiers think, since they think that they're in Lagrimar, they're like questioning Jasminda about like when's her tribute day, where's her family, and all this stuff.
Yeah. So, next day, Jack gives Jasminda a map to the cornerstone of the mantle. If they reinforce the cornerstone, the true father can't tear down the mantle. Jasminda thinks he's crazy again. And Jack's like, yeah, I got this little stone from this old man. Believe me.
I've got this magic little stone. It's going to take me to a magic bigger stone. And we're going to fix everything and it's going to be fine.
Yeah. So, where the temple that Ella went to was just like an hour's drive from where Ben is stationed at. And versus like the multiple hours between Portside, the city that she lives in, and where he's stationed at. So he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna drive there. No one can stop me. I'm personal assistant to the High Commander. I will do as I pleased. But then he gets stalled because this VIP foreigner named Zara is lost. She stole a car, and he's like, you can't just do that. So he has to turn back around, go track her down, and guess what? Zara has found a group of Lagrimari immigrants who had somehow made it through the mantle. And Ben's just like, well, this just fucked my week.
This just fucked my week up.
Yeah. So Ella finds out that the woman that Kes fears is the high priestess of the sisterhood, which Kes was a part of. Ooh, this is where we're going.
I thought the sisterhood was good.
Oh, baby! Well, you're about to find out what you're about.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, she's, like, mulling around. And then she froze, noticing 2 eggs in a small bowl at the edge of the table. One egg was whole, the other was cracked and empty. Do you need this egg? Sister Sarah looked up. Oh, no, pulled out one too many. She smiled distractedly and kept mixing. Ella couldn't move. One whole egg next to one cracked egg was St. Cyrana's symbol. A message for when she wanted you to listen to her word and take action. Ella makes a decision. She goes to look for her nephew.
Wait, what happened to him? Was he taken? I'm so confused. I missed something.
Yeah, I didn't think it was important. Basically, like, after her sister died, she, like, broke down. Understandable if your sister dies in front of you. And then, so, like, they took the baby away to, like, be cleaned up and stuff, and they just didn't bring him back.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's probably a good decision then, Ella. Good, I like that decision.
So, Jasminda listens to the soldiers talk about the Lagrimari. It's weird. The sergeant of the group is definitely trying to make some moves on her. Nasty. So
it's gross.
She goes out, heals Jack some more. He wants her help, and she's uneasy about it. The whole cornerstone thing. And then, like, this gross sergeant is magically talking to some lady, and Jasminda does not like that one bit.
Because she keeps getting, like, weird, bad vibes from these other magical objects that she keeps coming across, and she's like, what is going on?
So, Ella's having difficulty finding Sister Giselle and the baby. And then she meets the gardener, who implies the head priestess is a big old bitch. Then Sister Giselle finds her, and the baby's gone. No longer in this temple. Sent off. Don't worry about it. The sisterhood will take care of it. And, like, basically locks her in a room until her bus comes. And Ella's pissed.
Wow.
And is determined to find this baby. So Jasminda staging a break to run away. But then they get caught. And Jack gets beaten again. And Jasminda's basically locked her room. Then one of the soldiers comes in, tries to rape her. It's not even page 100, and I'm having to read this. I hated the way
they are all very drunk, and so, like, the sergeant's rules to not touch her have gone out the window.
Yeah. I really did not. This is about to be graphic. One but say I did not like the way Penelope. If you're listening, I did not like the way you said his squirmy, limp penis. Didn't like that.
I don't like it in general. I like that. I like that she described it like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the visual, but I do like that he had
a squirmy,
a squirmy, limp, flaccid penis.
Okay, but guess what, everyone? Jasminda foresaw this. She has been putting herbs that make you have, like, low blood pressure in everyone's drinks and food. So, no erections in this house.
No erections in this house. It's not stopping them, though, which is unfortunate.
No, he drags her downstairs instead, and she gets away. A fight happens. A lot of graphic things I don't want to talk about happen. Jack bursts in with his little knife. Another fight happens. She kills a man. They go into the sergeant's room. Hold on. I'm sucking on a lozenge, and it did not go well. Okay.
Jasminda straight up pulled this man's hair back. Pulled his head back by his hair and slit his throat.
I know.
Absolute power move.
That noise was me, like, making the, like, cutting the throat motion. Okay. So,
Nice,
they go into the sergeant's room. He has a speaking stone that catches on fire, and the house begins to burn down. The house that Jasminda's father built with his bare hands.
Ugh. And it was like a woman speaking. They don't know exactly who she is, but clearly very powerful.
Yeah. So her and Jack are able to get out, but, I got a quote, Jasminda's knees hit the ground as a crash sounded behind her. Heat crawled over her skin. Pungent smoke punched her nose. She could not bring herself to look. Jack wrapped his arms around her and pressed her into his chest. He whispered something she couldn't hear above the rush of blood in her ears. Gasping, she worked to pull herself together. Clutching the coat Jack wore that had long since lost her father's smell. Finally, she could breathe steadily. His arms were a cage of safety around her, but she still felt like her chest had cracked open and everything inside was leaking out. This is all I have. I have nothing else. He held her tightly and rocked her gently, but she found no solace in his arms.
Aww. Aren't they just the perfect... Oh, I love them.
So they go out. The sergeant just, like, lets them go.
Which is very suspicious.
Very suspicious. Jack and Jasminda talk, and he offers to escort her to the Capitol to get her appeal, so she won't lose her land or have to renounce her mother, her dear, dear mother, who she loves so much. And then she's like, okay,
Yep.
I'll help you with the cornerstone in exchange. Yeah. So...
Which they're gonna do first that I did not understand. I was like,
understand either.
Isn't this gonna be like some kind of epic journey to go fix the cornerstone? No, it is clearly very quick errand, and then they can go take care of the taxes.
Yeah. Like, there's a week thing on the taxes, so... Okay. Ella wakes up on the bus home after a nightmare about her nephew. Ella gets off at home, and Amanda's waiting for her. The High Priestess wants to see her. Uh-oh. So Ella has to go. And this lady, don't like her, don't trust her, don't want her, don't need her. This High Priestess knows way too much about Ella and her business. And the High Priestess won't let Ella see the baby. She's just like, oh, don't worry about it. Are you vaping?
What?
Are you vaping?
No, that was static from an old TV.
Stop vaping so loudly.
I can't help it. It's the TV.
Okay. Sure, Haley. Between your sniffles and your vaping.
I cannot help either one.
Okay, so this High Priestess won't let Ella see the baby. It's like, oh, he's somewhere. Not in this city. Don't go looking for him. And then she's like, okay, well, you just transferred Kes from this temple to that other temple. Do you have any of her shit still here? And the High Priestess is like, maybe you can go look in her room. She goes and looks in her room. They threw everything of Kes's away. Everything's gone.
It's just gone?
Yeah. And Ella, not happy about any of this. So when she's sitting on Kes's bed, she finds stuffed into the mattress this little figurine of a little boat. And so she shoves it into her purse and leaves. And she's like, this High Priestess won't pull my strings. Who does she think she is? So, Jack and Jasminda, on the move. They're doing the mantle stuff first, I guess. Jack, still super injured. Like, he's been shot, he's been beaten multiple times.
Yes, incredibly injured.
Mm-hmm.
And Jasminda doesn't have enough, like, her Earthsong is very weak, so she can't, like, heal him all the way. Sorry.
So, Jasminda thinks the storm they're in feels more than just natural, and Jack has been using that little bloodstone map he has, and they get the first mark from his vision. And then Jack promptly falls down a hill, but then, like, while they're rolling down this hill, they end up where they need to go. So, the space was 20 paces across, but unlike his vision, the inside of the circle was empty. It was here, just here in the middle. He turns to Jasminda. Or an obelisk where it was higher than the outer stone columns. In the vision, I knew it was the cornerstone. He stared at the empty space again. Well, not entirely empty. Where the obelisk once stood, now it lay a smooth patch of what looked to be dark glass. Somewhat irregularly shaped, the sleek surface held ripples, as if a stone had been tossed in a puddle, and then the whole thing had frozen. Jack moved toward it, studying the area. Could it have been moved? Jasminda asked. I don't know. He dropped to his knees, exhaustion catching up with him. Was it his imagination, or did the glass move? Jasminda kneeled beside him. Her attention caught as well. Had she seen it? Like they had practiced the movement, they both reached a hand forward at the same time. Only the tips of their fingers brushed the surface, but the glass shattered as if hit with a hammer. So they both get knocked out. Jasminda wakes to find a woman in the circle with him. No idea who this woman is. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Wait, listen to this, Haley. You're here for the cornerstone. Her voice had a slight echo to it, a distant quality through the woman, though the woman stood only a few pieces away. My father built the mantle, and when he died, protecting it fell to me. Father told me that one day there would be seekers, either to destroy the barrier or strengthen it. You must prove which you are before the cornerstone may be revealed. Who is this lady?
So it's what's his face's daughter. What's his name?
Yellis.
Illis?
We'll come back
Yellis?
to that. This goes. Put this in the fan theory section, Haley. We'll come back to it.
Highlight this note.
Okay. So she has to like do this test to get the map back in the glass. You all know we read a fantasy book. You see your greatest fears shown back out to you. Which the glass is
You knew it
now
was gonna
like
happen.
unshattered, by the way. She has to stand on the glass and she has to carry the map stone to like the center of the glass. She sees her dead mom who says horrible things to her. She sees her father and dead brothers. They say horrible things. She crawls closer and closer to the center. Then the constable is there and he says horrible things and she can't do it. But Jack, our man Jack, he's able to. Who knows what he saw? And this time, and now it's time to work on fixing the cornerstone.
I thought he was still passed out. I had no idea. So when he like popped out of nowhere, I was like, whoa. I thought maybe he didn't have to do the test. Until later, we find out he very much did.
So, though it tore at her heart, she swallowed and focused her attention on the obelisk. Her breathing had still not returned to normal, so it took several tries before she could successfully connect to Earthsong, the raging river, a power felt wild, rough, and choppy. She filled her song to its limited capacity and felt for the magic of the cornerstone. A power ancient and unfamiliar met her. The spell was a tangled webbing of complex pieces, far beyond her skill level. She could sense cracks in the intricate latticework of energy, but trying to fill them would be like mortaring a brick wall with a twig and a bit of mud. She was just too weak. She had the absurd desire to laugh. The voices of her family echoed in her head. She swatted them away, but they persisted. It's not just me, she muttered aloud as if their apparitions were still before her. No singer alive could repair this spell. The magic was hundreds of years old. Papa told her that ancient singers must have had godlike powers to create the mantle, and yet slivers of doubt pierced her. It doesn't work, so she gets shoved out of a trance, an avalanche hits, Jasminda prays to the queen who sleeps, and then the cornerstone's just shattered. And the hole is ripped in the ground, and her and Jack tumble down, but then someone casts like a spell on them, and they float safely down the mountain, and their wounds are all healed. Jasminda isn't sure, but she knows an Earthsinger saved them, and then a group of Lagrimari find them. They seem nice, so let's go with them. The Earthsinger...
Yeah, relatively nice. They're a little cautious.
Yeah. So the Earthsinger who saved them is a little boy named Osar. I love this little boy.
I love Osar.
Okay, these people somehow knew Jasminda's father? What's going on? So, and they're, like, very, like, mum about it. We're just like, we're not telling you shit about your dad. Your dead dad?
Oh, you know, that guy.
Your dead dad?
Anyway, what else is going on? Your dead dad that you miss very much? Yeah, I know him. Let's not talk about it.
And it feels very weird to Jasminda, understandably. So they're keepers of the promise, whatever that is. They never explain what the promise was.
They never explained what the promise is.
Well, they're the keeper.
For sure.
They're on this side of the...
They're keeping it.
They're keeping it. They're on this side of the mantle because they know it's gonna fall, and it's gonna be a rough one. Lots of stuff I don't know and understand happens. But ultimately, these fellas want to find the queen who sleeps and wakes her. Huh?
There is a lot of stuff that happened. You're correct. And I'm also struggling to, like, put it succinctly.
So, that's basically what happened. Jack knows a bunch of shit. And you're starting to get sus about who the fuck Jack actually is.
Yeah, who is Jack? Who is this Jack character?
Who is this 22-year-old boy? Why was he on this mission? Okay. Hello? Anyways, at this point was when I sent you that text that was like, I would let Jack rail me the next week. At this point, I was like, yeah, he could get it.
At this point, and then the rest of the book happens?
Jack had me at this point.
Damn.
I was on that Jack train, baby. Okay, so the next day, they wake up. I have the quotes of when they're, like, snuggling together. And I'm just like, oh, really? We're snuggling, Jack?
We're snuggling. Jack has a boner.
Boner alert.
And it's something.
This book, not YA, by the way. Definitely new adult.
For sure, new adult. And that's why you love to see it.
So the next day they wake up, one of them, Turwig, gives Jasminda the stone that looks like the cornerstone and has immense power and has the sigil of the queen embedded in it. So Jasminda touches it, of course she does, and is pitched into a vision. These visions with these touching stones, man. Okay, so it's of this girl, Ula, running with her lover, Yillis, and her brother, Ero. Ula and Ero's birthday is that day, and Ula and Elis are Earthsingers, and Ero is jealous of their song. And Ula wants to share it with him so desperately. And maybe that's the end. That's the beginning of the end.
That's the beginning of the end.
Jasminda comes back to her cell. She relays all this, and apparently it was a test, so we get some new info. Throughout the war, Torwig began. The Keepers have fought against the True Father's tyranny, searching for a way to overcome his great power in order to awaken her. We have always believed that killing the True Father was the only way to awaken the Queen, but the masked fiend is hard to kill. Almost impossible, Gerda said. And there are those who believe he walks among us in secret, taking on the appearance of our trusted friends and confidants. Rosille crossed her arms and sniffed. Could the woman's paranoia be justified? It's true that no one has ever seen his face? Jasminda asked. No one has seen any part of him, Torg replies. He's always covered from head to toe and wears a jeweled mask to hide his face. The women of his harem are kept blindfolded when they are with him. And aside from the cantor, only the songless are allowed in his inner circle. The cantor? Jasminda frowned. Who is that? Every few generations, a powerful Earthsinger is spared the tribute and serves the True Father's cantor, someone who studies Earthsong, find new ways to create the breaches, develop new spells, and increase the True Father's power. Cool. Okay, a couple things that we didn't talk about. True Father, nasty. You know why he's called the True Father? Because he's had 500 years of women that he's fucked, and his entire army is filled with his kids. What the fuck?
Yeah. I didn't know men had that much sperm. Like, I feel like at some point it would run out.
No, it doesn't. Do you not remember this as a whole plot point of Twilight? About why?
Okay, but this man is still alive. He's just extremely old. He's not frozen in time.
He is frozen in time. He hasn't aged a day when they unmask him at the end of the book.
Spoiler.
Oh my god. I'm gonna crack open my soda.
Nice. I will say right here, like, after this first vision, like, I kind of knew
Who was who?
Ero.
Who was whom? sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So the stone.
Not to say the payoff isn't still good, because it very much is, but I do.
Yeah.
I do.
This stone and others like it are called calderas, and they're powerful. No one else has ever received a vision after touching the stone, just Jasminda. And the current cantor is a woman named Yadaris, and Jasminda suspects that this is who was talking to the sergeant, through his speaking little stone. But yeah, fate and gods, leading people to their destinies and all that goodness.
I just want to say, all these names are so good, and they don't seem to, they're like not like the cheesy fantasy names that are like, they make sense, but they're like all very different, which I like. Besides Jack.
Except Jack is short for some reason. Okay, hold on. Okay. So Jasminda has to wait the queen and go on a journey. Love that for her. Ben goes to the temple that Ella was at for Cass, and he's been like dealing with the refugees for like a day or so. He and the priestess there talk over the refugees, what has to be done about them, and he clans up real fast when he brings up Ella, and now he's like, okay, what the fuck has my wife gotten herself into? Cause like he's pretty chummy with this priestess, like on their other stuff, and as soon as he brings up his wife, she's just like, I can't talk about that. Someone higher than me.
Oh, cause she's probably like nice to them so that she can like keep doing whatever she wants.
Oh no, this isn't the high priestess. This is just the head priestess of this temple.
Oh, just a priestess. Okay.
Yeah, she's the head. So she's like in charge of this temple, but the high priestess is in charge of her. So when she says it's above me, he's like, oh fuck, my wife's done something to anger the high priestess of a religion.
Classic.
So, and as he's leaving, he bumps into that gardener, and it's like, yeah, your wife has unknowingly gotten herself into a lot of trouble. You better watch out, bud.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna have to comb over your audio.
Sorry
Ella
about
goes
that.
back to work.
I'm sick. I'm sorry.
Ella goes back to work at the hairdresser. The girl who washes the hair says that Ella found what in Cass's bed, a Vignorine, a boat and oars, looks like the sigil for her saint, or Doreen, a nasty lady I do not like. Says it's part of like this cult of like basically hardcore atheists. They're called the Minionists.
What do they believe?
The gods suck. We shouldn't worship them anymore. You should join my group and read my book.
Ooh. Yeah. Same. I'm also a Dominionist.
No, they're like, you know, those guys who like have read every single book that Richard Dawkins has ever written, and it's like, this is it. You think anything else, you're stupid. You like astrology. You're fucking an idiot. They're like the.
Oh, okay.
Vibe. That's
Never
their
mind.
Vibe.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were frat bros.
Oh, just wait until we meet the leader of this little group. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. So, our cave friends are trying to leave the caves, but no one can sing their songs in these caves for some reason, except for Jasminda. She knows the way out. So, her and little Osa are going to share powers to fully map the way out. So, Ella goes to a Dominius meeting. It's, you know, a rally little meeting, you know. She talks to this leader, this guy named Zan, and he's like, my sister Cass is dead, and she has a baby. Anything you know about that? And he's just like, I don't know anything about that.
Heard about this baby?
And she's just like, and how'd you get this sigil? She just came around once. What's that about? And he's just like, I don't know. Lots of people come here. Are you gonna leave now? And Ella's just like, okay. I know where this is going. Okay, so our little K group ends up at a settlement of refugees. A little skirmish is happening because some Elsyrian decides to blame the refugees for his problem, and the soldiers are up to some of this bullshit. And then Jack is just like, who am I? Well, they all look at him and they're just like, you're the High Commander. And he's like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm just like, Jack is the what? He's the what? I thought this boy was 22. What?
He's the fucking man.
He's the commander.
I just love that. Do you know who I am? Oh, well then who am I? Oh my
and
god.
Like, You're Commander Albadine? It's like, yeah, I am. He's like, I need your verification code. And he says it. And he's like, okay, sorry, sir. And then you're just like, huh? What's going on? So Jack, big mad, starts giving these soldiers the what for. It's very sexy. He's just like, okay, why were you doing this? And you're like, well, because. He was like, okay, but because of this law and this law and this law, you can't do any of that. And they're just like, you are correct. And he's just like, yeah, we'll talk about punishment later. God, okay. So, and while Jack's doing this, Jasminda decides it's vision time. Yillis has found us.
I feel like, hold on, I feel like now is where Jack and Jasminda are, like, definitely very obviously having feelings for each other.
She's like, that's kind of sexy, but I also have conflicted feelings about it.
And also, I am afraid and alone, and that's my only friend.
Yeah. Okay, so Yillis has found a spell that lets Earthsingers share their song, and Ula has been sharing with Eero, but he's not really respecting her or it. He's a little power hungry. Fan theory. Eero's the true father, and Ula is the queen who sleeps. This is when I got the fan theory.
Ding, 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 ding. Dong. I think the only thing I hadn't figured out is how... Because, like, I knew Eero was the true father because he's, like, always covered up. Like, they can't know that he is a white man. And then, I just couldn't figure out how he came to rule over the Earthsingers, and she was still the queen of the silent.
Yeah.
That was the only part I didn't know yet. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jasminda tells Jack about this, and he says no. He knows where the site where they're at in the dream might be, and they can definitely swing by there on their way. Jasminda isn't too happy that he's like this, apparently a high-ranking official in the military, because she was like, I just helped him because he was a dude. I didn't know he was the commander, and I'm just like, oh, honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Oh, honey.
And guess who Jack's assistant is? Ben, our boy. And earlier, Ben was just like, yeah, my high commander's off doing something. I don't know what, though. And I thought the high commander was going to be like this dude in his 40s. No, it's Ben, it's Jack, who's 22.
It's Jack, who we have already come to know and love, and now here he is, the High Commander.
So, Ben drives them to the Citadel to look for clues. Jasminda doesn't really find anything, but they run into some Fifth Breach veterans, one of which is the blacksmith from town, Bloodine. He was a phantom in the war. Basically, the Queen orchestrated this group to stop the breach. Like, there was, the Cantor had, like, a secret son. And they were like, and she was like, kidnap that son, and the war will stop. So they did that. But then, like, the Cantor, like, got his powers taken away. And then Jack realizes that Cantor dude was the same dude who gave him the mapstone. So, it was actually a trap set up by the true father, who wanted Jack lead him to where the cornerstone was. And I'm just like, wasn't he there when it was made? Doesn't he know where it was to begin with?
Well, I think that he couldn't get to it.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's that he didn't know where it was, but he just didn't have a way to get there to destroy it. And so that's also why the sergeant and the Cantor instructed the sergeant to let them go after the fire.
And then Jack gets a call on his private line. His brother Alark has died.
So not only does he now think that he's responsible for this massive gaping hole in the mantle, but his brother is also dead, which has its own ramifications.
So Ella, she gets some fake papers to go look at some orphanages outside of Portside, where she's not allowed to go, so she needs the fake papers. And she goes to look at this orphanage for her nephew, and then, like, the matron reports her to the police, and then she gets arrested for her fake papers.
Oh, no.
Back in the camp, Jack wants to make it clear to everyone that Jasmine isn't Alsarian citizen and not a refugee, so she's to be treated differently and with respect. But these nasty men say nasty little things about her in her presence, and she gets big mad. And then her temper flares, and like some source of power like inflames her anger. And there's like an outburst that causes problems. And Gerda, one of the old ladies from the cave group, says with the children, and basically tells Jasminda to get her shit together. And the true father is targeting Jasminda, like trying to give her like extra power so she'll do shit.
Oh, I did not realize that. I feel like I missed
might have
that.
been added. I know. Okay.
So she was the one that like caused those like disruptions and everyone was like freaking out. But then the children who still have their Earthsong, they were like, yeah, we felt it too, but they didn't freak out and cause problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jack sets Jasminda up in this supply room, a place that's safe for the men. But he goes to see her, and God, this fool of a man is head over heels in love with her, and he's got something big to tell her about this, about her, something big to tell. So, he's got something big about his family to tell her. Why did I struggle to say that? And then,
that's okay.
Fan theory, everyone. This is when I got the fan theory that Jack is the Prince Regent.
I did not see that coming.
I've read a book or two.
That was not even on my radar. I just thought he was like an important person in the military.
No, because he kept saying,
no
I
clue.
tell you about my family, but I'm not going to tell you about my family. Okay.
I thought maybe he just had like an alcoholic dad or something. I don't know. He's
gonna sleep on the floor in the supply room, and Jasmine is like, "You can sleep in the bed with me." So he gets in the bed, and then they start making out of nowhere, and then they all.
It is very hot and heavy.
Like they just like spooning turns to kissing, like you as it does. Spooning turns to kissing to them almost having sex, and Jack is like, "Okay, hold on." We should not be doing this on a cot in the middle of a refugee camp. Also, I know you're a virgin. That's not how this is gonna go down the first time. Even though we both want to, and Jasminda deserves more than that. What a man. I'm disappointed. Jasminda's disappointed. He sleeps on the floor and they hold hands.
But what a man. Just 10 out of 10 A+ character. Like, he has a lot of character, not just as a character. Okay. He's a man.
Ben
to be.
Gets a telegram to call his friend Rosira, so he does. Finds out that Ella's been arrested. Zura offers to find him a lawyer to get her out of possibly being deported. And y'all, guess who the fucking lawyer is? It's that little old lady from the beginning of the book! The one that...
She's a lawyer?
Who's been practicing for 40 years, immigrated to Elsira, and has been a law professor since then. And Zara just happens to be friends with her.
Well, fuck yeah.
They're just like, that cranky old lady who no one likes. And Ella's just like, I like her, I'll cut her hair. And she's just like, oh, I love your hair color. And oh, if we do this haircut, you'll look so nice. And she cuts her hair like that. And she's like, oh, I do look so nice. I wish my husband was still alive to see this.
Oh, no.
Anyways, so,
Anali,
what a woman. What a woman. I could run laps. This was so good. Anali shows up at the prison, and she's just like, you don't have an arrest warrant, get my client out of that jail right now. And they're just like, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, she's giving like a little old lady giving the what for. My audio's off the charts this episode. I'm into it. You'll love to see it. Okay. So Ella tells Anali the whole story. She's gonna stay at Anali's that night so she doesn't get arrested again. And she calls Ben, finally gives him the full rundown of what's been going on. Okay. And then says, I need you to be safe. Maybe leaving the country isn't bad. What? She screeched. Okay, let me do that. What? Okay. Trust me, I don't want you any further away than you are already. It's just that we're teetering on the edge of a cliff right now. And there's nowhere to go but down. Between the mantle and the war, you're going up against the sisterhood is just... Celine Nadeus, God, is a bad enemy to have, Seashell. So am I, Ben. So am I.
Oh.
Also, there's this cute thing where she calls Ben Sea Monster and he calls her Seashell.
That's so cute.
I can just say it here because when they met, she was like on the beach, like sunbathing, and he had walked out of the ocean after swimming, and she was like, "Wow, are you a sea monster?" And he was like, "I could be your sea monster." And then they fell in love. They got married 2 months later.
Aww.
Anyways, okay, but yeah, Celine Nadeau is a bad enemy to have, Seashell. So am I, Ben. So am I. Oh, baby. We get another Ula vision. She won't give Eero power anymore, and Eero's pissed off. And guess what? Cantor's way more common back then. And then Jasminda's on her way to the capital for Asira. And then... The royal palace of Lasiras loomed in front of them, white stones gleaming under the illumination of a shocking quantity of electric lights. The pictures in her textbooks did not do it justice. Column porches ran along the first floor with a seemingly endless number of arched windows just beyond. Carved into the stone above each window were images of the founders, the magical lord and lady in various poses showing how they transformed Asira. Somewhere within this building lay the sleeping body of their descendant, the queen herself, protected by the prince regent who ruled in her stead until she awoke and returned to power. Seeing it in person, Jasminda was transfixed. Though there was no longer any magic in Asira, the palace seemed to give off its own energy and spoke to her in an unfamiliar way. Turns out that Jack wants her to stay in the palace, and she's like, "I'm a goat farmer. I can't stay there." And she's like, "Jasminda, we can't talk about it right now. Just get in the palace." And I'm just like, fan theory? My fan theory?
I am a goat farmer.
Yeah. And Jack can't tell her something before she's whisked away. She takes a big old nap, and then she's print for dinner with the Prince Regent. She's like, "Why does he want to see me? The Prince Regent. What's going on?" And then she finds out that actually the old Prince Regent just died like a couple days ago, and there's been like a secret changing in the guard because they can't let anyone know until after it's happened, so no one tries to kill the new Prince Regent. And so then now there's a new one. And he wants Jasminda to come to his big fancy dinner. So she goes to the dinner. She's just like, there's a lot of people here. I wonder where Jack's at. And then the same man who announced her stepped forward and cleared his throat. Jacros Edvard Alicine, High Commander of the Royal Army, First Duke of Cavil, and Prince Regent Elsira. The servant slid away, and Jasminda's heart dissolved to a pool of liquid at her feet. Directly in front of her, in full regalia, stood Jack.
There he is.
I was hooting and hollering. Jasminda is shocked. And she's like, "Okay, I can't be in love with him. He's the Prince Regent. I can't do that. I know how this works." And then, like...
I feel like I only got that he was Prince Regent when the lady was telling her that she was invited to dinner and was, like, very insistent that she go to the dinner. And I was like, oh...
I love
Jack.
how, and then Jack immediately realizes his folly by not having anyone tell her the correct way to eat a fancy royal dinner. So there's like this Princess Diaries-esque pantomime going on where Jack blatantly and deliberately shows her which forks to use without them ever speaking or like really looking at each other and the proper way to eat the food.
I know. I think the best part of that exchange is he keeps clearing his throat for him to get her to look at him, and she's mad at him, so she won't look at him.
I know.
And then finally she's like, "Oh, he's trying to help me."
Okay, after dinner, Jasminda meets Lisbeth. I hate that name. I'm just saying that. Lisbeth. What a name. Who is Jack's brother's fiance, so she was going to be married to the ruler of this country, and now he's dead. And her family hates Jasminda. Jasminda runs into Jack on the way out. He apologizes for not telling her. And Jasminda's like, "We can't be together." And, like, she runs off knowing she can't love him. And then Jack's personal valet is like, "I had a maid find her and escort her back to her room." But the whole time you're just like, okay. And then Usher. What a man, Usher. He's like,
Oh,
guy.
sure.
I've known you since you were a babe. You're in love with this girl. Go fucking talk to her. And Jack's like, yeah, you're right. So he goes. On his way, he runs into Elizabeth, who, like, understands the politics of royal relationships because, you know, she was, in fact, going to be, like, married to the Prince Regent. And she's like...
And also grew up in the palace with them.
Like, you can't be with her. And Jack's like, mind your business. Okay. So, Ella runs into the wife of the Dominionist. She's pretty sure that the leader, Zan, like, the wife is pretty sure that Zan is the father of the baby. He's part Udalin, which are the Icemen. Yeah.
Oh.
And the baby has, like, the hair to match that explanation. Ella's a little shocked. And the lady shows us this paper in Yali, Ella's native language, and it just addresses, but she has, like, a puzzle on her hands to figure her out. So, Jack goes to Jesmond's rooms. She looks at his healed bullet wound. Then they start making out. And one thing leads to another. They fuck. I love it.
Oh my gosh, probably one of the more explicit sex scenes that I have read in a minute.
Like, it wasn't even that. Okay. No.
Okay, you have to know the vanilla shit that I read.
Yeah, this isn't like this. Okay, on a scale of like Cassandra Clare to Sarah J. Maas early books, like Throne of Glass sex scenes, it's not the Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas is doing romance author stuff. It's closer to Cassandra Clare, but it's like a good middle ground of where, like, you know what's happening. It's kind of vanilla sex too, compared to some of the smut I read.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
anyways.
for sure. But, like...
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah. It's fine.
We don't, like, get any, like, hard, like, descriptors of what's occurring.
No, for sure not. But, like, you know what's happening, even though the words are different.
It's like new adult sex scenes. Like, it's not romance novel, it's not YA. No fade to black. Anyways, right. Afterwards, gingerly she plucked the box from his palm and lifted the lid. A shiny gold metal winked up at her in the dim light. A 5-pointed star with the profile of a man wearing a crown at its center hung from a wide blue and gold ribbon. Around the man's head circled the words, "In feast and famine we sustain." It's the order of the grain bearer, Elsira's highest honor for service to the crown. Jack's voice was full of pride. Jesmonda's heart stopped beating. "For me?" He squeezed her shoulder. "You saved my life. This is just a token, but you deserve it." And then Jack's just like, technically there was supposed to be like this huge like ceremony and like all this voting stuff. I just went got a spare, and then I went down to the records, wrote your little name down on it. No worries about it. And Jesmond just like, I don't think you're allowed to do that, but okay. And technically now she's Dame Jesmonda. Love that for her. And they're gonna try to make this work, but discreetly. And I'm just like, oh, you're both gonna get your heart broken.
It's not gonna be good.
But he doesn't care what anyone thinks, but he doesn't want her to get hurt, so he's like, okay, we'll do this your way.
Yeah, and I feel like you get this all the time, like the guy being like, well, it has to be a secret for your sake so people aren't mean to you, but like with Jack, I like actually believe it. Like he's actually a good person who doesn't want Jesmond to be harassed.
But he's also just like, if you would let me, I would go tell everyone. Consequences be damned.
Right, yeah. But she was like, you were probably right. I would probably be murdered in the streets or something.
So tomorrow
horrible.
she's going to go deal with her tax issues because he still owes $20,000 to the Prince Regent.
He was going to wave him away, but she's like, no, I'm doing it by the books, baby.
So Ella goes to the seedy bar, starts chatting up a smuggler. Apparently the high priestess has been sniffing around at the tavern for a few weeks. She was speaking with a Yali man who went and talked to Zan, and we got those addresses from, and here's what the conversation was about. I best be on my way. Time doesn't sleep, but old Near needs to. You take care now. You too. Ella stared without seeing it. The old man rose and limped off. Her eyes had finally adjusted to the darkness, enough to see what his breakfast was. A few crusts of toast, the remains of runny gruel, and boiled eggs. One had been cracked open, but a whole one lay on his plate, uneaten. Saint Serena. I love that shit.
It's him?
No,
That's him?
It's just a sign. The eggs.
He's the saint?
No, he's not the saint. The eggs aren't the symbol.
Oh, so he knew? I'm gonna have to read all of these parts by myself because I don't understand what the hell's happening in
Ella,
Ella's
she's trying
story.
to figure out like what the fuck was going on with her sister, and this is part of it. And after she talks to this guy, she sees the symbol for her saint, so she's like, okay, I am on the right track. Because you know what we found out? What I'm about to tell you that's going to change this whole book for you, Haley Dane? The High Priestess caused Jack's brother's death.
What?
They planned his death because they didn't like him. And they thought if they put Jack in as Prince Regent, he'd be easier to manipulate because he was not groomed for the role.
Oh my god.
That is the whole Ella storyline, baby.
Wow, that is definitely integral.
New information. Okay, so Jack calls a meeting with the council. The true father sent some peace terms basically saying, give me back all my refugees or else war will happen. So they argue a bunch. Fun to read, bad to recap. Okay.
Basically, Jack is a good guy and is like, we took these people in because their life is horrible there and we're not sending them back because we're better than that. And everyone is like, yeah, but peace. And our people.
And we're gonna say racist stuff.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, so Hula Vision time. Eero is on trial for trying to force someone to share their powers with him. And so Ula's just like, what the fuck, my brother? And basically they're like, you're gonna go to the psych ward. And I'm just like, I don't feel like that's gonna do anything for him. I feel like he has bigger problems. Okay,
Yeah, so probably.
The director of the tax bureau won't see her. Turns out he's friends with her shitty grandpa. So she marches across town to go yell at him. As soon as they'll track the paper of this gaze, what is there to discuss? It was a generous offer. You should be speaking with my solicitors at any rate. They handle these types of affairs. But I wanted to talk to you in person, grandfather. I have questions. Gathering her strength, she strode forward and sat in front of him, perching gently on the very edge of one of the two chairs facing the desk. A deep furrow appeared in his forehead, but he walked behind the desk and sat. Well, his voice was suspicious, unyielding. I know that Papa contacted you after Mama's death. She wasn't sure if she imagined the wince he gave. This was a man who cut off Mama, who had cut Mama off 2 decades earlier without a word. Was it possible he felt some regret? And I myself wrote to you on numerous occasions over the past 2 years, and yet you did not see fit to respond until now. The first time I hear from you is mere months after the first time I heard from the Taxation Bureau. 20 years without a tax bill. Can you imagine? She forces herself to smile. And then, out of the blue, your generous offer arrives, which provide enough to pay this sudden debt. I am very curious why that is. Can you enlighten me? She sat primly, hands clasped on her knee.
Oh, she's got him.
Like, what about it? And Jasmine goes home and cries. Jack calls for her. He has her brought to the resting place of the queen who sleeps. Nothing happens. And Jasmine doesn't tell him what happened that day. So she loses the house.
Yeah. Well, no.
No, it does.
No, she doesn't.
It goes up
She
for
gives it
auction.
back.
She just buys it back later. Well, the house is down. The valley. Anyways. So, Ben gets a telegram from Ella saying she needs him. And Zara's is like, okay, let's fucking go. So they go. Or Zara's... so he's going AWOL. That's what he's doing. He doesn't get permission to leave. He just goes. Zara is putting together a collection of Elsira folktales. That's what the epigraphs are from Zara's book.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, and then she's also working on some stuff for the Lagramere people. So Jack might have to get married fast because opinion of him is very poor because of the refugees. And Jack's like, no, I'm not marrying some girl that I don't even know or like. Understandable.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jasminda goes to visit the refugee camp, and she sees her aunt Vanessa working as a sister. And turns out that Vanessa is gay and in love with this other sister named Clove. And her grandparents...
For a long time.
Grandma and Grandpa didn't like that. So, little old Grandma set Vanessa on fire. And Vanessa only know Jasminda in secret. So what the fuck is that about? And Jasminda's just like, nope, I'm not gonna be friends with you. Bye-bye. And then this soldier shoots a little boy in the camp.
Oh my god, it's horrible.
Vision time, Ula is made queen. I knew it, bitch. Ella knows she's being followed. It's this little street orphan. Great, she's able to wiggle some information out of him. And he's been following all the people she's talked to for the sister. So she knows she's on the right track. Boy. So Ben arrives. Nice. Ella tells him everything, which love that for them. And Ben knows he has to tell Jack. So the paper prints outright lies about what happened, about the shooting. Jack's pissed. And it's a ball for the anniversary of the third breach day. So he has to go to it. Lisbeth and him dance. And she's also down to marry him, which is nasty. And then people are just like, what do you know about that Jasminda girl, Jack? And he's just like, oh, we've spoken a few times. She's acceptable. Turns out Jasminda was also at the ball and heard this, and she's big mad about it.
Yeah. And I think it's like the kind of mad where she like knows why he had to say that, but like it still stings.
Next day, Jasminda's doing some research about the histories of lands. It's not really that fruitful, and the visions are coming closer together. Lisbeth shows up and is basically like, I'm gonna marry Jack and you should leave. And then this nasty man from the council named Claudine shows up and basically says the same shit to her, but like is super racist. And then Jasminda just fucking slaps the shit out of him. And Jack sees this happen and he's just like, if I ever see you near Jasminda again, I'm gonna have you thrown off the council. And then Jasminda runs away. So Ella, she finds out with Giselle. Remember Giselle, Haley, from the beginning? Yeah, she took the baby. She figures out where Giselle's staying. Then sees one of her clients from the what do you call it? The hairdresser step out. Berta's the fucking wet nurse for the baby. And Ella's just like, cool, I can get some information out of her. Just set this up so we can get in that fucking apartment. Okay. So the council meets without Jack and votes to eject the refugees, and he can't stop them. He could overrule them and eject them all off the council, but then everyone hate him even more. So he's like, not good.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, like, get things done that you want to get done when literally everyone disagrees with you.
In Ula's time, the Silence and the Singers are at war with each other.
Eero is, like, demanding his own land.
So Jack goes to see Jasminda that night. She doesn't want to leave him, but she knows she should. And Jack confesses. She does, too. And then he eats her out. It's great. I love that for Jasminda. I really do. She deserves it. Then they fuck. It's a jolly old good time.
It's nice.
He's like, you know what would make her feel
see.
better? Some cunnilingus. And I'm just like, you're right, Jack. It does make her feel better.
But like she's also kind of sad because she knows that she's about to leave.
So Ella sets up a ruse to get Giselle out of the apartment and get herself into that apartment. And yes, the baby is in fact there. Ella runs the fuck out with the baby. Like it's a whole ruse. You're gonna love it, Haley. And then as she's getting in the car with Ben, Giselle sees her, and Ella's just like, "Oh no, I have been caught."
I have been caught.
So they speed off into the night. and they're gonna stay at Nelly's house. Jasminda was able to purchase back her land with her own money because she sold the metal Jack gave her. And as Jasminda is about to leave, she's arrested by the royal guard.
Not necessarily arrested, but definitely taken into custody.
They're just like, you have to stay in this cell until Jack says you can't. And at first she's just like, is he saying I can't leave? And they're just like, oh, no. There's been a threat against your life. So we cut to Jack, and no, we're not cut to Jack yet. Other stuff happened. Ellis, remember him? He finds a way to silence Eero forever through blood magic, and Ula agrees to it. Ellis taking care of the baby, and when she touches the baby, she has a vision of her sister. Cass, remember how she did blood magic on the baby? Bound all her memories onto her son for Ella to have. So, like, a montage of shit happens. But, yeah.
Oh my god.
Later. So, they pull Ella out of it. Ella calls Zan's wife Maisie over. And the baby loves Maisie. And then Ben says they can leave the country if they need to, but Ella doesn't think that's the way. Then she again sees one egg broken and one egg whole and knows she's on the right path. So, Jack, the threat against Jasminda was that someone snuck into her little room, took out a dress she'd worn, cut it all up, and left it outside of Jack's bedroom.
Didn't they light it on fire, or was that something else?
So Jack is like, okay, I've interviewed everyone. Go let Jasminda out. I'm going down there. So he moseys on down to the cells. He's like, okay, let her out. And then just like, what do you mean? She's already out. She's already out.
You already told us to let her out.
I get it. And he's just like, this maid came down with a letter with your seal on it. And then he's just like, you just let her out to not me.
You think I would send a maid down for her?
The forging, everyone. Lizvet! And then cut over to Jasminda. Lizvet forces Jasminda into a car. She gets beaten up in this car, even though she says don't beat her up. And then they make Lizvet get on the bus with the refugees to leave the country. And I'm just like, Lizvet, that's not the way. If you had just talked to Jasminda would have been down to leave. Like, you didn't need to put her on the bus.
Right. She would have, she would have just left. Like, she was about to leave anyway.
Also turns out that Jasminda's grandpa disowned... So, like, she, like, is taking the refugee camp. She runs into Aunt Vanessa, who's like, you can't put her on that bus. She's a citizen. And he's like, do you have her papers? No, I don't think so. She's going on the fucking bus. And then turns out Jasminda's grandpa wanted her disowned. Not because he was just running for office, because her mom had a huge fucking trust fund that he wants to get his grimy little fingers all over.
And if she didn't have any other relatives, he could do that.
Jack has Lizvet and her dad. Her dad's the one that cut up the little dress. And her dad's, like, on the council. And he's like, you're both getting arrested for kidnapping, and you're off the council. Bye-bye. And he's desperate to get Jasminda off that bus. So he keeps, like, calling. The lines are all down. It's horrible. So Ben goes to see Jack to get discharged. And Jack ones up him and has him transferred to the Royal Guard. So he'll still have a job, but still be near Ella. We love to see it. Then Jack gets the idea to bloody fucking fly a plane to the border to stop the bus. I was so stressed.
You know, the one that his brother died flying.
Then Aunt Vanessa shows up and is like demanding an audience for him. He was like, I'll fucking see her. What does she want? And I was like, oh, you're just Minna's an aunt. Okay, yes, we're on the same side. Let's come along. Do you know what pilot by chance? And guess what, everyone? Clove, the lesbian lover, is a pilot.
Clove, the lesbian lover, is a pilot. Can fly anything. Okay, can drive anything.
Ella, she goes to see the head priestess, plants some false leads, and basically, like, leave me the fuck alone, or I'm gonna do some shit to you. And the high priestess is like, okay, we're even for now. I don't know where you had that baby.
Okay.
So, Jasminda hits the border. That nasty sergeant is now lieutenant, and then there's a breach. actually
my God.
the mantle completely gone. Shit.
It's also
So
mental.
the man is like, cough up the stone, or I'm gonna kill everyone every 60 seconds. Like, one person every 60 seconds. And, this hurts. The first person he kills is Gerda. And Jasminda's like, I'm just gonna give it to him. And all the keepers are like, don't, you're fucking down, stop it, just down. And then tons of people start saying they have...
Sit the fuck
And then
down.
tons of people start saying they have it to cause confusion. Then the true father arrives and just walks straight up to Jasminda. And we find out Illus made the stone. And then he starts to torture Jasminda. I got a quote. Now give me the stone and you may die quickly. Jasminda trembled. She could not stop him from taking the caldera, but she would rather die as slowly as it took than give it to him. I know who you are, Ero, she said, fighting the quiver in her jaw. And True Father froze. Once again, unseen eyes raked over her skin. I have not heard that name in a long time, and I don't care to hear it again. What a man.
Not what
I'm sorry,
a man.
that's a baller ass line. Okay,
Not
that's a
what a
baller ass
man.
line. Okay.
You're right. At least he didn't monologue.
Bitch, I knew it! I knew Ero was him. I'm doing laps tonight.
Yeah.
Rip that R.I.P. that pussy. Hey! She's not with Jim tonight. She's not with him tonight. She's in the gym tonight. I'm getting ripped tonight. R.I.P. that pussy. Hey!
Exactly.
That's just what's
exactly
going on in
that.
my brain. Okay, anyways. Yeah, I wrote that also in the notes.
I see that. Or I like that.
Yeah,
I like that part
Those are
of
lyrics
it.
from Dick by Doja Cat. You didn't know that? I did.
I wasn't sure. I only knew the part of from that TikTok that you sent
Oh
me.
yeah,
The other
when I was like, "This is you and Seth." Okay. Yeah, so Jasminda's on
Yeah.
the verge of death. They take the stone from her. Then she links up with Ozar, and then Gerda's blood pooled, inching toward Jasminda's face. Soon it had mixed with her own. Had the old woman's sacrifice been in vain? A memory tickled at her mind. The spell Ellis had taught Ula in the last vision. A blood sacrifice. The link opened between herself and whoever the persistent Earthsinger was. Ozar, she recognized the feel of his song belatedly. Some part of her skin must be in contact with him, though numbness had begun to erase her pain. He offered her control of the link in his powerful song. Jasminda startled at the feel of every heartbeat of every person nearby inside her body. She breathed with the breaths of thousands. Insects burrowed deep underneath the ground, came into crisp focus. Every blink of every eye was loud as a camera shutter. She sensed the True Father's spell, the tunnel of wind and water separating the Illyrians from them. She could see how it was made, perhaps even copied it. She filed the knowledge away. Instead, she centered her attention on the ground beneath her and reached for the memory of Illis' spell. And with her enhanced power, she could almost taste Gerda's blood mixed with the dirt and sand. Jasminda twisted the energy of the Earthsong, mixing it with the woman's lifeblood. So Jasminda weaves this magic spell using the blood magic Illis taught Ula all those years ago. And it stops the True Father. The ground is now like the caves where only Jasminda can sing. And they get the stone back from them, and then Jasminda has another vision. As they go to give Ero his little land, he stabs Ula, takes her song, and Elis leads the Earthsong singers into building the mantle to bar Ero from their lands. But while they're doing this, so like the silent on one side, the singers on the other side, Ero switches sides at the last second before the barrier goes up, trapping him with the Earthsingers and Elis and Ula with the silence. The way he always wanted, infinite power that he could steal.
Because now he can just walk around like, oop, now I have your song. Oop, now I have your song.
Ula.
How I imagined it was like Elis was like prepared to cast it after they had like their last goodbye, and then and then in stabbing her, he like switches sides with her, and then as soon as the knife comes out, Elis like obviously has to raise the barrier because he wants to save Ula, and that's kind of how I imagined it. It was just all like a split second kind of thing.
So, when Ula, she's like in the world between, she can either stay or die. And Ira's like, yeah, she can come back to life, she just won't have her song. And Ula's just like, I can't do that. I can't live without my song. So she just stays in the world between. And Elis takes her body back to the city and searches for a solution. I walked in the day, he finds what he's been seeking. He chants words in the ancient tongue of the cave folk, words I don't understand. He takes the pendant bearing my father's sigil, the one I always wore around my neck, cut himself, spilling his blood over it. He calls her Alicine, who, when asked, spills his own blood on the sigil without hesitation, binding the spell. The blood congeals and the magic grows, encasing the pendant in a blood-red stone. Blood magic will do what Earthsong cannot. Blood magic may be broken only by those who bear the blood. Then Elis crosses over the mantle, he faces Iro, he dies in battle. The Keepers of the Promise are supposed to take the stone, cross the border, present it to the prince, whose touch will unlock the magic. But the Keepers he commanded to hold back and stay safe rush in, seeking revenge. None survive the battle. The stone sits where it lies. Elis's gift to me, his whispered spell to bring me back to my body and give me his own song, lays under the rubble of the fallen city as his body turns to bones. The archways are long gone now. If they were here, perhaps I would pass into the world after to be with him, to thank him for trying to save me. But being with Elis is not punishment enough, so I watch for a very long time. Sometimes a dream will find me and pierce the loneliness, but more often it is endless agony, standing by watching while the centuries pass. And now, Jasminda, you have heard my story. Judge me for my faults if you must, but you bear the only evidence of Elis's love for me. His song is in your hands. Release it. Release me. It is time for this to end. Wow, powerful.
Wow.
I have some fan theories about this that we can get into.
I know. I need like a minute. Like, I finished listening to this yesterday and I still like haven't quite wrapped my mind around it.
What this all means in this episode. Okay, holy hell.
Okay.
So Jack, he gets there, and Jasminda won't let them heal her because she has to hold the power, and she's waiting for Jack to get there because she needs his blood. Please, Rozelle's voice was a whisper. Jack's heart broke. Jasminda was so weak. This is what he wanted, he could do it. He whispered a kiss across her lips, not daring to press against her and cause more pain, then closed his hand on the caldera. Searing pain shot through his body, as if being pulled apart one organ at a time. He might have screamed out loud, he wasn't sure, but the burning agony was like nothing he'd ever felt. His blood was on fire. It burned bright and hot, and then it was gone. Breath returned to his lungs. He was once again kneeling on the glossy surface of the unnatural ground next to the woman he loved as she slipped further and further away. An explosion of light above his head blinded him. He squinted against the small fireball, which rivaled the sun in sheer brilliance. It grew brighter, shining with a white-hot glare before disappearing. In its place, a figure floated, wrapped in ivory fabric. Her skin shone gloriously. A dark curling hair swirled above her head, blown by a non-existent breeze. She moved like liquid, spinning and stretching. She righted herself, hovered over her Jack, dark eyes piercing him with intensity. He swallowed and lowered his head in defiance. The queen had awoken. Book 1.
Damn. Book 1, the queen is awoken. It just like has my mind all kinds of fucked up about what's gonna happen next.
So Jasminda gets healed up by Ula. The queen says Jasminda will bow to no one. It makes her song so much bigger. And Ula's like, Jasminda has the blood. Whatever the fuck that means. We'll get back into that. And then abdicates the throne to both Jasminda and Jack. Huh? And the two
Love
lands
that.
will be united again. The political implications of that. The queen takes
Yikes.
Eero's mask off of him and reveals him to the world. Ula looks Lagramari and Eero looks Elsiren. Not the way it should be, but the way it is. And Jasminda is pretty sure Eero's going to, stab Ula again. Because he's like, don't you want to hug me? And Jasminda's like, that's the line you used 500 years ago. What are you doing? So Jasminda, she gets a knife. Jasminda circled around Eero and approached him from behind. The king's shoulder sifted, but he did not turn. Instead, he took a step closer to his sister and wiped the tears from her face and wrapped his arms around her waist. And with a yell, Jasminda ran forward and plunged the knife into his back. Then whispered the string of words that would bring him to the brink of death and release his song. The stolen songs inside of him catapulted at her, their attack violent. She kept a hand on the knife, but her knees buckled underneath the onslaught. The songs were tainted, they battered ruthlessly. Her connection to the Earthsong flares, her own song fought back. Like a virus infecting her, the stolen songs bore away at her shield, dragging her under. They were oily, slick with a layer of malevolence from their former host. Jasminda took them on, having no other option, but feared she would not survive the struggle. Her knees hit the ground. Blackness swept over her vision. Ula links with her, Ula binds the songs to the knife, and then Eero, powerless. And Ula floats away. A couple weeks pass, Jack becomes king, he's working to end apartheid. That's lit. Ella's putting Maisie and the baby on a boat out of the country, and Ella's work in Elsira isn't done. Maisie names the baby Uther. Weeks have passed. People are still iffy about Ula because they're just like, why does she look like that if she's our queen? And and then other people are just like, why are you being blasphemous? And then other people are just like, Jack isn't a good king. So Eero, he's in jail. Jasminda's trying to learn how to be queen. Jack goes to her in the library and they begin. He opened the velvet box he carried and dropped to one knee. Jasminda's eyes widened and her lips began to tremble. He presented her with a traditional Elsyrian engagement ring of 2 interlocking bands, engraved with her name and his in curling script. Jasminda Usarafer, will you marry me? He brought her hand to his lips. Will you love me, honor and protect me, rule with me, be my queen, repair the damage of the 2 lands with me, grow old with me, have children with me, make this world a better place with me? She swallowed, and Jack held his breath. The moment stretched on until he wasn't sure he would be able to remember to breathe in this lifetime. Of course, Jack, of course. Her smile was as bright as she slipped the ring onto her finger. Yeehaw! Boy! One engagement? Ooh! So.
Frick. I'm so afraid something bad's gonna happen. I'm so
Ula
nervous.
is getting chummy with the High Priestess. No one likes that. Epilogue time.
Did not know that.
Time. Ula POV. She's floating through the desert. She finds Darvin, the man who helped Jack. Remember him?
Yeah, who helped him go undercover.
So you must go.
And was super powerful, and he's the one that found the
You must go
stone.
west, I tell him. He clenches his jaw. You will aid the new king and queen. Jock Ross and Jasmine. I force myself to thumb the sliver of jealousy slicing my heart when I think of them. Their love, a living, breathing entity, haunts me. But I cannot begrudge these children their happiness. No, I need to find her. His thoughts turn to his own tattered heart, to the woman who owns it. Sympathy and sentimentality are like quicksand. I cannot allow them to pull him under as they did me. Now is not the time for you and her. I owe the new queen a debt, and it must be paid. Family is all that matters now. It is high time Jasminda's family came home. His eyes born to me coldly. I call the wind to me and rise into the air. He will help. I will give him no other option. The end! What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Many ideas. Okay. So, Jack and Jasminda. You love to see it. Yeah, let's talk about love. I only have Jack and Jasminda stuff. You love is the appropriately aged love interest these days. She's 19, he's 22. Pretty good out here. A little bit, it's pushing it there.
Love that.
Pushing it. But, like, he's...
What? No.
If
That's
I was
perfectly aged.
A 19-year-old. Anyways, so I got some quotey quotes. These first two are from when they wake up the first time they're snuggling together in that cave. Jack's arms were wrapped around something soft and warm. He opened his eyes, and a hint of drowsiness fled as a spark tickled behind his ribs. Jasminda lay curled on her side, her back pressed against his chest. Her head was tucked just under his chin, her chest rising and falling with gentle breaths. Jack didn't want to wake Jasminda by moving too quickly. He gave into the urge to brush her hair back, letting his fingers get caught in its tangled softness. How was it that she smelled so sweet? He allowed himself a few breaths before inching backward, pulling himself away from her softness. Other parts of his body were awake too, and he didn't wish to scandalize her. And that moment was when I was like, this is a new adult book, not a young adult book. Yeah.
Wait, that's what it said? Because in mine it said, he pulled himself away because he didn't want his erection to scandalize her. Just straight up said that.
Not this
Yeah,
book.
it says erection.
Wait.
Yep.
I have the hard copy here. I got it. Hold on. Pausing. I'm getting the hard copy to verify this. Be right back.
I swear to God, like, it would take me forever to pull it up in the audiobook, but it says erection. He didn't want his erection to scandalize her.
My hands. I have it, everyone.
Oh, see if it says it.
Okay.
If you can find this that quick, I will be impressed.
Well,
it said erection.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Thanks.
Seth just came in and said, yeah.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's not. You're killing me. Okay. I'm looking. Okay, it's much earlier in the book than I thought it was. Oh, this book is very different. Okay, hold on. I'm going. Oh, I just saw the word erection. Where was it? Okay.
Wait, so I wonder if they toned down the sex scenes too.
I'll have to peruse. Okay, no. I definitely saw erection, but it's not this scene. I gotta go back further. Okay. This is the test. Okay, this is the vision. Okay. I'm getting there. You're right! Oh no! It's even more intense, everyone. Reminder. This is the quote I'm gonna read the quote in the new edition. Jack didn't want to wake Jasminda by moving too quickly. He gave in to the urge to brush her hair back, letting his fingers get caught in its tangled softness. How was it that she smelled so sweet? He allowed himself a few breaths before inching backward, pulling himself away from her softness. Other parts of his body were awake too, and he didn't want to scandalize her. Now, let me read the quote from the original. Jack didn't want to wake Jasminda by moving too quickly. He brushed her hair back, letting his fingers get caught in its tangled softness. Her scent was enticing, soothing. He lay for a moment, breathing it in. Once again, thoughts inappropriate to their current situation stole into his mind. The curve of her buttocks grazed his groin, and he inched backwards so not to scandalize her with his growing erection. Hello? Spicy! I gotta return this book tomorrow. I gotta peruse. Like,
you have to read, at least see if the sex scenes are also toned down, because I'm guessing that they are. If they took out erection
somewhere else as well.
Oh yeah, it's when he goes to her room for the first time. She's like on his lap and like brushes her leg on his erection. Straight up says erection again.
Like, I'm trying to find where, okay, I might be a little too far. Hold on. I'm looking for the sex scene because I want to peruse it. Okay. Did they already fuck when they were at that point? Hold on. I gotta find.
No, that was the first time.
I gotta find where they have sex for the first time, so I know what part I'm looking for.
It's when he goes to her room when they're in the castle.
Palace? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have found it. Oh, it is. Immediately it is. Immediately. It is
it's more explicit.
Haley got the good. This is what, because I didn't understand what you meant. You were like, it wasn't a little explicit. And I was like, it wasn't that explicit. Haley Dane, what I am seeing with my little eyes.
I told you, dude. I thought I was just like being some kind of little prude where I thought that was explicit.
Like, not to get graphic here, friends, but like there's a whole description of him fingering her. That's not in my book at all. No, they just get straight to it in that book. In the new edition, let me find out the cunnilingus scene. I gotta find that. Okay, when does that happen? Hold on, I'm trying to think. Okay, before. Yeah.
The night before she leaves.
Okay.
Or tries.
Okay. Okay, in this chapter, they're confessing. Oh, yes, this is in fact much more explicit. Oh,
I can't believe
none
that.
Of this.
I mean, I guess it like she self-published it, so I guess that's why. But like stuff like that, like what I heard gets published.
No,
so I don't know.
Much more, like, it's not okay by romance novels standards. It's not that graphic, but like compared to what I read, leagues more graphic. You're gonna be dismayed when you read their sex scenes, Haley, because it's literally like half the length. Where it's like the same like blocking, but like the fingering, that's all out of there. The like.
El Penelope, if you're listening, you have to let us know why did you let them do this to us? Why did you let them take it out?
I was under a delusion of what occurred.
At least the truth is still out there. We can still get it at some
point. You just don't
point.
have Ella's story. Okay, so sorry for that divergence. Okay,
that's love.
I love that we found that out. Okay, next quote. Jasmina peered down at him, pouting. You come back. I'll be good, I promise. I don't want to make you an oath breaker. I will make no such promises. This is when they almost fuck in the supply closet. How spicy is that scene? Oh, hold on. I gotta see how spicy is that.
Oh wait, you don't even know.
Because it was just.
It's pretty spicy for them not having sex. It was
like,
pretty spicy still.
In the new edition, she just like wiggles on top of him, and he's just like, maybe we shouldn't.
It's essentially that, but like more.
Oh, I'm at this chapter. I'm getting there. Oh no!
You're gonna have to
I'm
cut so much of this out.
Okay, I'm to this scene, everyone. Okay, yes, spicy makeout, spicy makeout. No, it's not that different. We're basically like, she gets on top of him and tries to get his dick out, and he's like, no, we're not doing that. Okay.
Maybe we
shit, I just
will.
dropped my phone. Okay.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna get back to this quote. Jasminda peered down at him, pouting. You can come back, I'll be good, I promise. I don't want to make you an oath breaker, and I'll make no such promises. He took deep, calming breaths, trying his best to ignore the pull of desire that would have made him once again on top of her, and far more. Tonight we should sleep. I do not want to do something that you will regret. Would you regret it? He wanted to laugh and said, reach for her hand and drew it to his lips. No, but it is not my virtue we are speaking of. He kept her hand in his as he stretched out on the ground. Jasminda was an innocent, of that he was certain, and he wanted her beyond reason. It would not be right. Not here, not now. With so much about to change, the last thing he wanted to do was hurt her, not in any. He gripped her and joined the play, a soft skin against his rougher hands. Sleeping on the ground was no hardship when he was near her. Okay, blinded by her tears. Okay, this is after she runs away from him after the dinner. Blinded by her tears, she finally stopped in a blue hallway full of mirrors. She leaned against a little table but refused to look at her face, ashamed of her reaction to him. He could no longer be Jack. He could no longer be her hope. He could be nothing to her at all. Yeah.
That's so sad.
This is like when they're like doing a makeup moment. Do you want to know what I saw in that awful test to find the cornerstone? Jack's voice sounded hollow to his own ears. Jasminda looked up, eyes wide. They hadn't spoken of their visions. He had no wish for Jasminda to relive whatever horrors she'd seen, but now he felt the need to tell her. I saw my land in flames, my people dying in the streets because of my failure, and I saw you. His voice cracked. I saw you being carried away from me, ripped out of my arms, screaming. She cupped his cheeks, tears filling her eyes. He kissed him softly, first on his lips, then his cheeks, eyelids, nose, forehead, before returning to his mouth.
So I think what I love about them is that it's like kind of an instant love kind of thing, but not really. It's like instant lust, like they're immediately attracted to each other, and then they realize that they're like good together and that they actually have feelings for each other. But like I feel like it happens fast, but it's not super unrealistic
we also got
to me.
like just like
I buy into it.
They did spend a lot of time together, like in her house, and then traveling as well. So like that's a bonding moment. Like, you know, like when you go like on a camping trip with someone you don't know over like a weekend, you come out of it like feeling like you really know that person. Yeah,
like you've known them forever.
And then Ben and Ella, they're also in love and cute, but you don't really care about them, so. Yeah. I wonder,
I just don't know
there's
that
also
I'm sad about
novellas
it.
for this, which we have not on the docket to read. We'll read it at some point, as soon as, like, reading the fourth book as well. I wonder if one of them is the missing stuff from the original edition. I'm looking up.
Oh, maybe. It could be. I don't know.
So, Breath of Dust and Dawn. Oh, no. It's an extended epilogue. So, the first novella is an extended epilogue, but also prequel. So, they say to read it after the first novel, but I feel like I don't need to. Maybe I will in my own time. And then...
Yeah, I would really like to, but I'm sitting here looking at Whispers of Shadow and Flame, and that's a thick boy.
So, theme park. Family, not all it's cracked up to be. We got Ula and Iro. We got Jasminda and her grandpa. Jack and his brother. Ella and her sister, Kess. Like,
yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. I don't really know what any other theme would be.
And like...
Because it's not that Jasminda's necessarily the chosen one, but let's talk about our fan
talk about our fan
theories.
theories, the Night of the Living
Here.
Author. That's a better place for it. Okay. Representation
Okay,
Station.
fine.
Like, I don't really want to get into it. We're going kind of long. I feel like Penelope, she does it enough for us. Of, like, the segregation, racism, apartheid, all of that jumbled together.
Yeah, I feel like it is handled extremely well. Because, like, I don't feel like there are some times where the white people look at the people of color as, like, less than them because of how they live, I guess. But I feel like for the most part, it's just because they're separate from them and they're, like, different.
Yeah.
They look different.
And
You know
I
what I
really
mean?
like
Does that
as
make any
well,
sense?
like, you didn't get it, but I got it. The juxtaposition of Jasminda's, like, struggles as a woman of color in this ginger society, and how even though she is a citizen, how she's treated, versus Ella, who is white, but she doesn't have that red hair, and she doesn't have the proper papers.
Right, so, like, basically she might as well be a different race, basically, is what you're saying?
Yeah. 'Cause,
Like, that's how
like,
they...
the ethno groups. It's very
Okay.
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you were saying, that Elsira is definitely very xenophobic, and they only like people that look exactly like them, not even people
And you
that
missed out on this.
look relatively similar to them. Like, you
missed
have
out
to
on
be
this when you had the
Elsira.
Ella stuff. But also talks about how Elsira is, like, so insular, they even reject technology from other countries because the Yali people have cell phones. Like, they straight up have cell phones.
What?
And Elsira is just like, we don't like those, so we're not gonna get them. Can't buy them here. Breaks, too bad.
So Elsirans are just
Like, they
Amish
have
people?
cars and phone and, like, telephones and, like, radios. They just don't have cell phones.
But it's
'Cause no one
because
in
they refuse to, like...
Elsira hasn't figured out how to
mingle
do it
with
on
other
their
people.
end, so they're just not going to do it at all. Yeah,
Interesting.
interesting. We get Clove the lesbian. We loved it. Clove and Vanessa, the lesbians. We got them.
Oh, we love it. We
Yeah,
love to see the lesbians. Sad that they, like, obviously can't be together.
Okay, does it hold up? Technology, pop culture represents popular vernacular. According to El Penelope, the aesthetics are like 1920s Europe. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that, but I feel like there's almost, like... I feel like the fantasy and, like, almost sci-fi plays into it with, like, what you just said, like, the technologies from other countries, I feel like could get a little into... Definitely, what do you call that when something's out of time? Anachronistic?
Yeah.
I think so. But overall, I do love the
really
aesthetic.
see what she means by, like, 1920s. Obviously, it's not one for one, but, like, where you're in the city, you're surrounded by, like, all the tech, but then once you go outside of the city, like, Jasminda lives in a house that barely has plumbing, no electricity, no furnace, and she's like, yeah, this is how I live. Got a problem?
Right. And she doesn't even know how to use the phone when she goes to the post office the first time.
1920s of, like, New York City, bustle, hustle, the Wild West. Nothing goes on here. Yeah. Okay.
Nothing happens here.
Night of Living Author. First, I want to explain how the magic works, because I feel like Jasminda. Why did I say Jacinda? Jasminda really explains how it works. She's explaining it to Jack, who's never interacted with Earthsong before. So, imagine a spark inside every living thing in the world. People, trees, birds, insects. We all have a life force and an energy that keeps us alive. The combined force of all that energy is Earthsong. When a singer connects, it's like opening a tap and pouring some of that into us so we can use it. Different singers had different capacities. Some songs are large and some are small, just like cups full of water. The caves have shut up the tap for the rest of the world.
Yeah, that is very cool. I feel like I didn't quite get it, but yeah, you're right. That
Yeah, so like
quote
it's the
is
idea that
perfect.
within every Earthsinger is their specific song that they sing to the world. And it can be a short song or a big song. And once they sing that refrain, they can't sing it again until they get back to the beginning, you know. So that's why you have to wait for it to fill up. So
Right. I also feel like it's like I didn't quite understand like why they can do some of the things they can do, but that like that spark inside of every living thing makes sense because it's like they can make the trees grow and they can heal people.
fan
so.
theory time. So
That
something
makes sense to
I
me.
just realized while doing this episode, the way Ula has all of her power is because when they broke open the caldera, it was Elis's song that went into her.
Yeah, I just got that as well. Like it isn't her song that came back to her because Eero took that. When Elis died, he put his song into the caldera.
Okay. Let's get into what the fuck is going on with Jasminda's blood. Let's just get into that. Because I have some theories. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Ula and Elis were not engaged to get married. They were in love, but she kept rejecting him. But he made the mantle. Did he
Right.
have an illegitimate child?
Or, I mean, I guess it could have been illegitimate, but we don't know that he didn't get married
because
and like have a
he died shortly
family.
thereafter, after Ula did. Did I see?
Yeah, that's true. What was he
Elis?
trying to do? I don't understand that. Yeah, what was Elis trying to do? Why was he in...
Okay, because I think he was
Lagrimar.
trying to kill Eero because he didn't want to give up his song. He wanted to be with Ula. So he was like, okay, here's my backup plan in case I can't kill him and release her song. Yeah, because he had the spell
Gotcha.
to stop
Okay.
Eero.
Eero, but he's attacked and killed, and so he puts his song into the stone.
So,
The stone is lost.
Okay, this is
Darvin
this
finds
is what
it.
I think. This is what I'm
centuries
saying.
later.
Okay. I think maybe, or like maybe a sibling or someone that's related. Oh, let me go back to, you know, I'm going back to Haley, that diagram.
Yep,
Okay,
I was just about to pull mine open too.
I think he does.
Elis
If
has
you look at
siblings.
this- Look at this. It says Seraphor, Eagle, daughter, Dela, Elis. So maybe he has siblings. So somewhere along the line, whoever. Well, no, because that lady. Remember, she said she was the daughter of Elis.
The
Who
the
was
daughter
Elis.
of the person who made the
So who's
mantle,
she?
which we know is Elis.
I gotta know more about that. So then my fan theory is that he had like a kid, like an extramarital little child, and like, and then like
An
he's, like,
extramarital
been,
little
like,
child.
in charge of like guarding the cornerstone forever. I don't know how, magic, and then and then those descendants all the way go down to Darvin, who I think is Jasminda's uncle. And then...
I think so too, because all the keepers that we met knew Darvin
And Darvin's the
and
one
knew
who
Jasminda's
found the
dad.
stone. And then... And so then when Jasminda finds the stone...
But why couldn't... So to make the stone work, you have to have what's Jack's last name? You have to have one of them and someone of
So the reason why... Yeah, so...
of Elis's blood.
No.
So why couldn't they have done it together? Because Darvin...
Okay.
Sorry, jeez.
Because a couple things. One, the reason so the stone wasn't what was giving her the visions. It was the queen giving her dreams while she was awake. Because It was the
Okay.
queen's life that she was showing Jasminda, not Elis. It was not from Elis's point of view, even though it was his song in the stone. She was
Right, so then, since the queen, we know the queen can give people visions, we deduce from that the queen is giving Jasminda the visions.
It's not just when she's using her Earth song. So it's just when she holds it. And the reason Jasminda can use her Earth song on the mantle is because she's Elis's descendant, and he made it. The blood of the blood. And then, okay. Yeah.
Right,
okay.
but it destroyed the
But
mantle.
like when she's in the caves doing stuff. Okay. But then the reason why they release Elis's song to awaken Ula is that she needed Jack to hold the stone with her. And that's what they needed.
Right. But what I'm saying is if Darvin is also a descendant of Elis and is related to Jasminda, when he was with Jack, why
Darvin
couldn't
didn't
they
have
hold
the
the stone together?
The keepers had the stone. Darvin found it, but he didn't have it.
Oh.
Yes.
And he gave it to the keepers. Got it. Oh, because they were already on their way
Yes.
to Elsira. Okay,
Yes.
it all makes sense now.
So, I think we're going to find
Okay.
out more about that. I have many. What's the next 3 books about? Civil War. Yeah, because now
Do you
they're
think
in
it's
charge
gonna
of
be
2
Civil War?
countries. We got one country of racists, one country of people who haven't left the country in 500 years.
And who are... A lot of them are related to each other, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Because the True Father. So who knows what that
So
did.
rate that
I'm just
book.
kidding.
It's a 10 out of 10, baby.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me. A 5-star
How
Goodreads
believable.
read.
Yeah.
Would
believable
recommend
was the
to
magic?
a loved
I have
one.
a good grasp on how it worked. Could I explain
I
it?
feel
No.
like I do too. Like, it seems it's kind of complicated, I think, like between, but really all you have is Earthsong and Blood Magic, and then combining Earthsong and Blood Magic to make the Calderas.
and then there's
That's really
the
the only
Saints,
magic
the
there is.
Saints.
I'm
We
sure
haven't
there's
really
more
gotten
that we'll
to
learn
those.
about, but
Maybe in the next books. Okay. Yeah. Well, we let our middle
I
school
don't-
selves
I don't
read
know
this
anything
book.
about
Like
them.
15, 16, maybe. Yeah, the new.
yeah, maybe the new special edition.
El Penelope, I got some questions.
Oh, man.
Can I DM you? Okay, this is over 2
Can we
hours
talk?
long. This podcast is going long.
Would
I
love
gotta
to chat.
pee, so let's wrap this up. Next week, we are reading book 2 in the Earthsinger Chronicles, and that is called Whispers of Shadow and Flame. Who's on this book cover? Who are these 2 people? I don't know. Who are they?
I know. Who are they? On these gorgeous,
is it
gorgeous
Jasminda
book covers.
and
Oh
Darvin?
my god, I cannot get over them. No, I think Darvin's older than that. I bet we haven't met them yet.
Oh, wait.
Because also,
hold
she
on.
looks different from the person on Song
I
of
don't
Blood and
think
Stone.
Jasminda's the main character. I'm reading the book description.
No,
and it's
stop it.
Kiera. She is a Lagramere citizen. And Darvin. Her and
What the
Darvin
heck is going
what this
on?
book about. And then, what is book 3 about?
Oh, don't spoil anything.
Oh, gross. Oh, no, Haley. Each book's about a different couple.
So you're telling me that we
Hold
don't see Jasminda
I
and
thi-
Jack again?
I think they might
Is that
all
what
come
you're
back together
telling
in
me
book
right
4.
now? them's fighting words. Because I
You know what
love
I found out
them.
of book 3. You don't want to know what I just found out
Oh
about book
my-
3. Okay.
I said don't look and be
anyways,
spoiled.
Next week, we are reading book 2. I'm very much looking forward to it. This episode was chunky. Hopefully next week won't be chunky because it's not an expanded edition, so we don't have to go like do all the like the what. So okay.
Right. And we kind of know what's going on now, so now it's just we can just talk about the
follow
events.
us on
You know.
all the social medias. We have a merch store now. There's links everywhere for it. We got some cool sick stuff. I'm sure once Haley gets her stuff in mail, she'll post some model pics on the IG. It'll be great, you know. Yeah.
It'll be great.
I haven't said it in a minute. Intro and outro music. This
All
is
right.
Thunder Sunday Mornings by something. This is the end. I don't remember who it's by. I'll have to look that up. Springtide. Thank you, Hales.
Springtide.
Yeah. You can find us on the webs. I really have to pee really bad, and I need to go eat those chicken tenders. So.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Goodbye.